Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 7 Part 6 based on novel. So let's start. The smile on Lindong's face grew even wider upon seeing Mo Ling's red eyes, before he chuckled and asked, "Do you trust me? I have never doubted you from the start." Mo Ling exhaled deeply. Because he had delayed entering the core region, he had not heard of the face-off between Lindong and the Wind Cloud Empire. However, this did not affect the unshakable confidence he had in Lindong. This confidence had sprouted in his heart due to Lindong's various actions since the start of the 100 Empire War. Even now, he was still confident in the latter even in the face of a super empire. At the beginning, he did not wish to implicate Lindong in this matter. One reason was that he did not wish to trouble Lindong, and another was that he did not want Lindong to clean up after them again. However, he never imagined that Lindong would say such words. This time, Lindong did not take the initiative to intervene and help them take back their pride. Instead, he merely calmly informed them that although the other party had the backing of a super empire, he, Lindong, had their backs. There was a similar excitement surging in the eyes of Diyun and Man Shan. They immediately gritted their teeth tightly as a fierce glint flickered within their eyes. Their originally dispirited appearance had disappeared almost instantaneously, causing them to look as though they had turned into someone else. Everyone around them were a little stunned when they saw the Mo Ling trio, who had suddenly changed from dogs which had lost their homes into individuals filled with spirit. They clearly did not understand why the group would undergo such a drastic transformation after seeing Lindong. Could it be that this person was able to give them the backing to provoke a super empire? Go, use your own strength to snatch back the things that belongs to you. Although we are from a low-rank empire, I will handle any consequences of today. Lindong waved his hand and laughed. Low-rank empire? Lindong did not make much of an attempt to hide his words. Therefore, his voice had spread rather far. The expressions of those around immediately became rather interesting as their gazes stared at the former in a strange manner. Originally, they had wondered what gave Lindong's group the courage to say such words. Unexpectedly, he also came from a low-rank empire. It was truly a mystery how these fellows managed to muddle into the core region. Mo Ling's group merely nodded their heads heavily amidst the many interesting gazes from around them. After which, they suddenly turned around and once again walked back towards the wide square with surging killing intent. "Oh, you've got guts." That few black-clothed men on the square were still standing there. They had been watching Lindong's group with icy glares from the start. When they saw Mo Ling's group boldly approach them, they immediately began to laugh in a strange manner. "Kid, don't randomly attempt to appear mighty. It will be too late for regrets in future. I believe that you do not have the qualifications to meddle in our affairs." The leader in black stared at Lindong and sneered. Lindong merely grinned upon hearing this. He ignored the small fries and directly raised his head to watch the other group under the large tree, who also looked over in response. A faint chillness flashed over Lindong's face at this moment. "Revealing your arrogance, you are seeking death." A white-haired man beside the cold black-clothed young man parted his mouth into a smile and spoke in a sinister manner. The black-clothed young man's sharp blade-like eyes swept over Lindong, while playful look smirk formed from the corner of his mouth. His body, which was originally intending to stand up, once again sat down. He wanted to see just how these people were going to resist today. "Li Kun, since others wants to test the capabilities of our great Wei Empire, you should just test theirs in return." The black-clothed young man tapped his 5 fingers. A faintly discernible icy aura lingered over his fingertips as he softly spoke. "Understood." The man in the arena immediately responded in a respectful manner upon hearing this. A ferocious expression surged up his face as he turned around. He stared at the approaching Mo Ling's group as his lips parted and venomous words dripped from his mouth. "I have given you a path to live. Since you refuse to take it, do not blame me for being merciless." Bang! A low and deep sound suddenly erupted from under Li Kuan's feet. Faced with this ferocious face of Li Kuan, Mo Ling's group did not utter any unnecessary words. Instead, mighty Yuan power surged out from within their bodies, causing Li Kuan's expression to change a little. Clearly, they did not expect that Mo Ling's group would actually also be this strong after going all out. Kill them. Show no mercy. Li Kuan cried out coldly. The Mo Ling trio's courage to provoke the Great Wei Empire had clearly caused him to become rather furious. If he did not teach these people a proper lesson today, it was likely that the reputation of the Great Wei Empire would become the butt of others' jokes. There were 4 figures behind Li Kuan. All 4 of them had rather powerful auras. Hence, after Li Kuan's cry sounded, these 4 figures also abruptly charged forward. Their Yuan power undulations had similarly reached the 3 Yuan Nirvana stage. Although they were also at the 3 Yuan Nirvana stage, they were clearly significantly weaker in comparison to Mo Ling's group. No matter how one put it, the Mo Ling trio had obtained a sect's inheritance. Perhaps this would not allow them to compare to the leaders of those super empires, but they were definitely not a group who could be dealt with by ordinary characters. Numerous figures crisscrossed at lightning speed while formidable martial arts attacks containing powerful Yuan power ferociously flew out. Bang bang bang. Everyone watched the wild and violent ripples that was emitted from the point where the human figures clashed. Surprise was present in the eyes of quite a number of people. Clearly, they did not expect that Mo Ling's group, who had swallowed such an insult earlier, to actually possess such fighting strength. These 3 fellows have progressed quite well, little Martin smiled and said when he saw this scene. After all, they have also obtained a sect inheritance. It is sufficient to make up for the gap in their foundation. Lindong nodded. The Mo Ling trio's progress could already be considered to be extremely quick. From the looks of it, the benefits that they had obtained from the inheritance was quite significant. After all, the current Lindong was merely had the strength of the peak 3 Yuan Nirvana stage. Of course, his 3 Yuan Nirvana stage strength was sufficient to kill Kang and the other 4 Yuan Nirvana stage experts. Does Big Brother Lindong know them? Suru softly asked. Yes. They came from the same empire as me. Lindong smiled and replied. Suru blinked her large eyes. Evidently also extremely surprised. After all, she knew Lindong's ferocity rather well. However, comparatively speaking, Mo Ling and others seemed lot more ordinary. It looks like they are about to win. The usually quiet little flame suddenly spoke in a flat voice. Bang! His words had barely faded when a low and deep sound rang out in the battleground. The 4 Great Wei Empire experts shot backwards, appearing extremely miserable. They were clearly in a completely disadvantageous situation. Mo Ling's group swiftly absorbed the Nirvana seals in the hands of these 4 people when they were sent flying. Bastards! Li Kuan's eyes immediately darkened upon seeing the 4's swift defeat. However, before he could take action, Mo Ling had already rushed over. The latter's long hand seemed to dance as a wild and violent Yuan power gathered at lightning speed. Returning wild Yuan army. Mo Ling's handsome face was currently covered with an almost maniacal expression. The martial arts which he had used was extremely powerful. From the looks of the Yuan power that was seemingly gathering in Mo Ling's palm, it was clear that it had reached the low-grade soul martial arts level. Mo Ling, you dare! Mo Ling's lightning-like attack also caused Li Kuan's face to change drastically. This was especially the case when he sensed the wild violence from the former's palm. His expression grew even uglier as he quickly maneuvered his Yuan power and threw his fist forward. Mo Ling's face was cold as ice. His wild martial arts attack violently smashed onto Li Kuan's fist. A mighty force erupted which directly sent Li Kuan flying. A ugh sound could be heard as a mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. Clamor! An uproar immediately sounded from all around when everyone saw Mo Ling send Li Kuan flying with a single strike. However, the surprise in their eyes disappeared as quickly as it had come as they looked at Mo Ling with pity. Did this fellow forget that there was a true expert from the Great Wei Empire watching from the sidelines? Sending a member of the Great Wei Empire flying in front of so many people. This matter would likely not end well. Useless. That white-haired man under the large tree watched this scene with a sunken expression in his eyes. His face immediately turned cold as he slammed a palm into the ground, which directly transformed into a black light that shot out. Mighty Yuan power swept outwards. It turns out that he was full Yuan Nirvana stage expert. That white-haired man was just like the great peng that had extended its wings. In a flash, he appeared in the air above Mo Ling. With a malicious laugh, his hand transformed into a Yuan power storm as it was violently fanned towards the latter. Even a bastard from my great Wei Empire is more noble than you lowly beings. I will let you know just what you cannot touch. Formidable Yuan power tore through the air, containing an astonishing destructive force as it fanned towards Mo Ling like lightning. Its speed was as fast as a thunderbolt. Mo Ling's expression changed when he felt this wild and violent strength. He was just about to retaliate when a wind sound was suddenly transmitted from behind them. A strong metal tower-like figure landed heavily in front of him as incomparably powerful rod images erupted and directly smashed onto the Yuan power storm. Get lost! A low and deep cry sounded as a terrifying strength spread out from the rod. Everyone was stunned to see that the body of the white-haired man shoot backwards. With a bang, he collided onto a large tree before falling down miserably. The eyes of that cold-faced black-clothed man grew darker at this moment. He made a snapping motion with his fingers as a black-colored dagger flashed and appeared. With a jerk of his arm, a black light appeared to have penetrated through the air. This light contained a wind that could split the body of a 4 Yuan Nirvana stage expert as shot towards Little Flame's throat at a crafty angle. The black light rushed past. However, when it was still several feet from Little Flame, a green light suddenly shot out from behind him. It ferociously collided with the black light, forcefully shattered the dagger. The expression of the cold black-clothed man suddenly changed when the dagger was shattered. In the reflection of his eyes, a figure appeared in front of him in a ghost-like manner, before a flickering cold green scale paused in front of his forehead. I think that I, Lindong, can still take care of the matter here. The entire place was silent. Lindong smiled a little as he watched the many stunned faces. His soft voice carried an icy chill as it quietly echoed. Lindong? The name from Lindong's mouth suddenly caused the pupils of quite a number of people to rapidly shrink. At this moment, they had finally realized who Lindong was. The noisy commotion around the messy rock ground instantly came to a halt at this moment. Those gazes, that were previously filled with a gloating expression, had been replaced by traces of shock that gradually climbed from deep within their eyes. Lindong? This name that contained some magical allure caused their hearts to quietly tremble when they heard it. Soon after they entered this core region, they had heard of the massive soul-stirring battle that had occurred at the entrance of Wanxiang City. At that place, the super empire known as the Wind Cloud Empire did not even have the time to do anything in the core region before it was completely wrecked. The ones who defeated them did not have an alarming background. Rather, these people merely originated from a low-rank empire. A face-off between a super empire and a low-rank empire eventually ended with a low-rank empire as the victor. This enormous contrast was sufficient to cause anyone to feel shocked. As members of various empires, all of them understood the huge gulf that existed between these two entities. Even if some charmed individuals were able to obtain an inheritance, it would still be ludicrous for them to challenge a super empire. This was already evident based on the fact that the Mo Ling trio chose to endure and give way previously. Therefore, with this knowledge in mind, when news of their triumph spread out, it was able to create a stunning impact. Upon learning the result of this shocking battle, almost everyone firmly remembered his name. It was the name that dared to use the strength of a low-rank empire to challenge a super empire. Lindong. At this moment, that name, which merely existed in the rumors, has finally appeared in front of them. Some people quietly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Their eyes contained some reverence and fear as they stared at the figure in the distance. Clearly, no one had expected that this ordinary-looking young man was actually that big shot that was famed across the entire core region. In the battlefield, the Mo Ling trio turned calm because of the suddenly silent atmosphere. Their eyes looked at Lindong, who had appeared in a phantom-like fashion in front of a leader of the Great Wei Empire. At this moment, a sharp scale in Lindong's hand was right in front of the other party's forehead, causing the latter to be afraid of making any move. Moving like a thunderbolt. This phrase flashed across Mo Ling's head. He did not see how Lindong had attacked. Moreover, it was also obvious that the leader from the Great Wei Empire did not either. Otherwise, it was impossible for the other party to allow Lindong to place such a sharp weapon in front of his forehead. That fellow has become stronger again. Mo Ling's group exchanged looks with one another. They were able to see some shock and complicated emotions within each other's eyes. The expressions of all the experts from the Great Wei Empire under the large tree also changed drastically at this moment. In fact, when they saw that incomparably sharp green-colored scale that was held between Lindong's fingers, their eyes involuntarily shrunk. Lindong? The cold-faced black-clothed young man's expression clearly stiffened for an instant. His pupils reflected the cold glint from the green-colored scale. The corner of his mouth twitched a little as he said, "No wonder you are so arrogant. You really do have some ability. Why don't we just forget about this matter? If we were to really pursue responsibility, your guys deserve it." Lindong glanced at the couple of unlucky people whose nirvana seals had been absorbed by Mo Ling's group through his peripheral vision. After which, he stared at the cold young man in front of him and laughed faintly. They had snatched the nirvana seals from members of my Great Wei Empire in front of so many people. Do you think that this matter can end peacefully? The cold young man narrowed his eyes and spoke with a chilly smile. Shall we fight then? The smile on Lindong's face became a little denser. His gaze swept across the hand of the cold young man and was vaguely able to see some flickering golden light. The allure of a heavenly-grade nirvana seal is quite powerful. You must have a big appetite since you dare to snatch the nirvana seal from me, Chen Jun. Aren't you afraid that you will not be able to swallow it? The cold glint in the cool young man's eyes surged. He flicked his finger and a black light dagger shot out from his finger. It contained waves of shocking sharp aura as it pierced towards Lindong's throat with lightning-like speed. The black light rushed out. However, just as it was about to penetrate Lindong's throat, a green scale suddenly surfaced from his throat area. With a clang sound, it actually directly shattered the dagger into dust. Chen Jun's eyes sunk slightly after his attack was blocked. His body transformed into numerous after-images as he quickly withdrew. At the same time, he flicked all of his 10 fingers at once. Numerous razor-like black light were blasted out in all directions, directly covering all of Lindong's fatal spots. Lindong let out a cold laughter when he saw that Chen Jun had attacked in such a vicious manner. He immediately clenched his hand tightly. Green glow gathered in it in a lightning-like manner. Finally, it transformed into a thin green scale shield. This green scale shield was not thick and it was only 1 feet in size. Cold glint permeated its edge, appearing as though it had cut the space to the point of forming some faint ripples. However, this thin and light green scale armor directly blocked all of the sharp black light that could easily penetrate through the flesh of an expert at the peak of the 3 Yuan Nirvana stage. Sparks flew in all directions as it did so. However, these seemingly sharp black light had difficulty approaching Lindong's body. Lindong curled his palm before his green scale shield suddenly began to rotate. After which, it emitted a whir sound before transforming into a green light that penetrated through the empty air and directly rushed towards Chen Jun. The speed at which the green light shield flew out was so quick that one's naked eye would not be able to detect it. Even Chen Jun could only see a green light flash past his eyes. Furthermore, he was able to sense a rich feeling of danger from it. Without daring to slight the attack, Chen Jun tossed his hand before a black-colored large bell shot out with a whistle and ruthless charge towards the green light. This black-colored large bell was clearly quite a powerful earthly soul treasure. Sound of wind being split apart continuously sounded as it rushed out. Clearly, it possessed quite a strong offensive strength. The green light heavily struck onto the green-colored large bell. Immediately, a clear bell chime erupted over the midair. Many large trees were directly sliced apart wherever the sound wave passed. Cracked lines also began to spread on the black-colored bell at a shocking speed while the sonic wave spread. Within a short instant, a shattering sound was emitted before the bell was completely blasted apart. Chen Jun's powerful earthly soul treasure was actually completely destroyed upon the first collision. When the black-colored large bell broke apart, the green light once again rushed out. It was locked onto Chen Jun. That buzzing sound that was emitted due to high-speed rotation was just like the sickle of a death god, ready to take the life of another. Ghost Blade Seal. Chen Jun's face had become completely grave as the green light rushed over. The seals formed by his hands changed. Finally, he let out a low cry. Vast and mighty sharp yuan power swept out, transforming into a black-colored ghost blade which slashed downwards in a furious manner. Clang! The black-colored ghost blade that was formed from yuan power ruthlessly hacked onto the green light. A clear metallic sound immediately spread. Soon after, wind began to surge. The green scale shield and the black-colored ghost blade shot backwards. Finally, it was blasted into fragments in the midair. Some of the fragments even forced that Chen Jun to dodge in a somewhat miserable manner. This fight was merely a split second long. However, there was no need to even discuss who had the upper hand. Chen Jun's body was a little miserable as he landed on a large tree. His expression was unusually ugly. However, his eyes, which were once again directed towards Lindong, no longer contained the slightest underestimation. Instead, it was a completely solemn one. Originally, I thought that the news was merely rumors. However, it seems like it is true, Chen Jun coldly said. Although he had heard of Lindong defeating the Wind Cloud Empire, his heart still had some doubt. However, after the previous fight, Chen Jun had completely grasped Lindong's strength. With his ability, defeating Kang from the Wind Cloud Empire was not impossible. The people around quietly felt shocked when they heard this. This was especially the case for those experts from the Great Wei Empire, and their faces were extremely interesting. Their eyes with fear when they looked at Lindong, and they no longer contained the domineering look from earlier. I am too lazy to be bothered if your super empire wants to act mighty. However, you should not do it to my friends. Lindong raised his head. His eyes were calm as he observed Chen Jun before he slowly spoke. At this moment, Little Flame and the rest had also arrived behind Lindong. Their eyes vaguely contained a fierce glint as they stared at the Great Wei Empire in front of them. There was a sign that they would attack at the slightest disagreement. The surrounding people quietly became cautious as they sensed this tense atmosphere. Upon learning of the identity of Lindong's group, no one would think that they were overestimating their own strength and seeking defeat. After all, though the Great Wei Empire was powerful, they were still a little weaker compared to the Wind Cloud Empire. Since Lindong's group was able to finish off the Wind Cloud Empire, it would not be impossible for them to handle the Great Wei Empire. Chen Jun's face was gloomy as he looked at Lindong's group from the large tree. His eyes flickered slightly. Finally, he scattered the surging yuan power around him unwillingly. He understood that if he was to really fight with Lindong, the party that would likely end up losing was them. Everyone sighed in disappointment upon seeing this scene. There was an unknown feeling in their eyes. They had never expected that even a super empire like the Great Wei Empire could only choose to withdraw in front of Lindong's group. These fellows were simply too phenomenal. Lindong, I must admit that you are skilled. However, you should not be too arrogant. Those fellows who had obtained the inheritance of the 4 great demon sects of the Ground Evil Alliance from this ancient battlefield are currently searching for you. I wonder whether you can still act so arrogantly in front of them. Chen Jun stared at Lindong before suddenly emitting a cold laughter. There was a gloating look in his eyes. However, he did not say much more. After uttering those words, his body moved and he led his group and swiftly retreated. The 4 great demon sects of the Ground Evil Alliance. Lindong frowned slightly as he watched Chen Jun's withdrawing figure. He muttered to himself. What exactly was the relationship between this Ground Evil Alliance and the 4 great mysterious sect of the Qiangang Alliance in the ancient secret trove? The originally tense atmosphere in the rock fragment ground suddenly relaxed after the Great Wei Empire left in a somewhat dejected manner. Numerous unique gazes continuously swept over Mo Ling's group. Immediately, they released a soft sigh. It was unexpected that these 3 fellows, who looked like ordinary individuals, were actually related with this group of abnormal people that were renowned across this core region. This involuntarily caused them to secretly feel relieved. It was fortunate that they did not add insult to injury earlier. Otherwise, it was likely that their fate would not be any better than Li Kuan's group. Ground Evil Alliance, 4 great demon sects. Lindong was too lazy to be bothered about the surrounding gazes. His mouth quietly repeated these words, which Chen Jun had mumbled earlier. Looks like it should be another treasure trove. However, from its name, it seems like they are arch-enemies with the Tiangang Alliance. They might have even engaged in life and death battles back then. Little Martin laughed. That is of no concern to me. Lindong frowned and said. At times, one must naturally bear some of the responsibility of the inheritance that one obtained. Little Martin laughed heartlessly. Qingxi never mentioned this to me. Lindong helplessly shook his head. Qingxi never mentioned that he had to deal with the Ground Evil Alliance when he had received his inheritance. Lindong, you do need to be careful about the Ground Evil Alliance. Mo Ling, who was standing behind Lindong, suddenly said. Huh? Lindong turned his head in surprise and stared at Mo Ling, whose expression was a lot more grave. Based on what I know, the inheritance of the Ground Evil Alliance 4 great demon sects have landed in the hands of 4 extremely powerful super sects. Moreover, the inheritance that they have obtained are a little unique. It requires the fresh blood of the 4 who have obtained the inheritance of the 4 great mysterious sects. Only then will it be fully activated. Mo Ling said. Oh. Lindong's eyes became focused. Clearly, he did not expect that the inheritance of the Ground Evil Alliance would actually be this unique. It seems like the grudge between the Ground Evil Alliance and the Tiangang Alliance must be quite a huge one. Even they, their inheritors, must participate in this feud. You have obtained 2 of the 4 great mysterious sects' inheritance, while the other 2 landed into the hands of Yang Sen and Liu Bai. Earlier, we heard that they had already exchanged blows with those super empires who had obtained the inheritance of the Ground Evil Alliance, even before they reached the core region, Mo Ling said. Even Liu Bai and Yang Sen are targeted by them. Lindong narrowed his eyes. It seems that this Ground Evil sect is truly targeting them with ill intent. Your reputation has already spread across this core region. It looks like these fellows will come and look for you soon. Little Martin smilingly said. They can come if they want. We also need quite a lot of Nirvana seals in order to enter that Nirvana Golden ranking. If they wish to deliver themselves to us, I will be happy to accept them. Lindong smiled. He did not feel the slightest fear. Although he did not like trouble, he was not afraid of it as well. With his current fighting strength, he would stand quite a high chance of victory even when facing those experts at the peak of the 4 Yuan Nirvana stage. Moreover, Little Flame, Little Martin and Suru also possessed powerful fighting abilities. Hence, he was not afraid even if they had to clash head-on with a super empire. Just what are these 4 great demon sects? Lindong paused for a moment before suddenly asking. The 4 great demon sects are named after fearsome beasts from ancient times. They are Yiwu, Daotai, Qiongqi, Zhuyang, and these inheritances are all extraordinary. Furthermore, thanks to the foundation of a super empire, it is sufficient to allow their leaders to possess the qualification to attempt to enter the Nirvana Golden ranking. Mo Ling spoke solemnly. Fearsome beasts from ancient times, huh? Lindong nodded slightly. It did have a similar naming fashion as the 4 great mysterious sects. One is upright while the other is nefarious. No wonder they oppose each other. That's right, Mo Ling, this is my brother Lin Jiao. Lindong suddenly appeared to have suddenly recalled something and introduced both parties. Mo Ling hurriedly cupped his hands together upon hearing this. His appearance was actually quite handsome and there was even a little feminine aura to him. However, if he was to compare with Little Martin's demonically handsome appearance, the latter was clearly on a completely different level. If this was a comparison between 2 ladies, both would indeed be pleasing to the eye. However, if it was between 2 men, one need not even mention how embarrassing it was. However, Mo Ling did not underestimate Little Martin just because of the latter's appearance. After witnessing Little Flame's frightening strength, he gained a respectful mentality towards all of these people who had suddenly appeared beside Lindong. Moreover, he was able to vaguely sense that this handsome young man, who had yet to attack, was likely a terrifying character. There is no need to be courteous. We can be considered as friends. Little Martin smiled. The words that he subsequently uttered caused Mo Ling and the two others to be at a loss. However, Little Martin did not give an explanation. After all, he had hid himself within Lindong's body and Mo Ling's group was naturally unaware of his existence. Lindong subsequently introduced Su Kuei and Su Ru. After which, both parties got to know each other a little before they quickly became familiar with each other. That's right, there is something else. While both parties were becoming familiar with each other, Mo Ling suddenly looked towards Lindong and spoke with a much more solemn expression in his eyes. We met Lin Langtian. Lin Langtian. Lindong's eyes suddenly shrunk. That fellow is still alive, huh? A good guy has a short life while a scourge survives for 1,000 years. This saying is indeed true. It is unexpected that this lad actually possessed such a hardy life. Little Martin clicked his mouth and said. Mo Ling's group was aware of the deep grudge between Lindong and Lin Langtian. Therefore, they were not shocked by his reaction. After musing for a moment, Mo Ling continued, however, that fellow is a little strange and he is a little different from before. When we saw him, he saw us as well. However, his eyes were staring at us in a somewhat foreign manner. Lindong knitted his brows slightly. Just what had happened to Lin Langtian? Regardless, it did not appear to be good news for him. Of course, despite this unfamiliarity, that fellow's strength had become extremely terrifying. Di Yun by the side continued. We saw him kill an expert who had stepped into the 4 Yuan Nirvana stage and snatched the other party's Nirvana seal. Lindong's eyes so elated. When he was at the ancient treasure trove back then, Lin Langtian's strength was at most a 2 Yuan Nirvana stage. It was unexpected that his strength had actually advanced to such a shocking level within a short few months. It seemed like it must be due to other circumstances. There are more and more enemies. Lindong gently flicked his 5 fingers. Sharp wind lingered over the tip of his fingers. His face did not reveal the slightest anxiety or fear. Instead, it was filled with some heat. This was the 100 Empire War and it would involuntarily cause one's blood boil. Let's go. Head to the 100 Empire Mountain. Since we have finally reached here, we must at least witness the final battleground. I really wish to exchange blows with those demon-like geniuses from the various large empires in the eastern Xian region. Lindong raised his head and smiled. After which, he ceased uttering any other words. He waved his hand and his body took the lead to rush out. Little Martin, Little Flame and the rest followed closely behind him. Mo Ling and the 2 others looked at Lindong's back. The fresh blood within their bodies began to show vague signs of boiling. Being members of the Great Yang Empire, they similarly felt pride when they saw Lindong's accomplishments. When news from the ancient battlefield was transmitted back to the Great Yang Empire, the entire empire, the imperial family and the various clans and sects would be shaken because of all his actions. That fellow would perhaps become the most dazzling existence within this ancient battlefield. This was an empty forest. A group of people was seated deep within this forest. Although no unusual sound was emitted from it, the cold and ferocious aura that was faintly being emitted caused the atmosphere in this place to show signs of solidifying. A ray of light suddenly rushed over from the distance amidst this silence. After which, it was grabbed by a figure within that group. It was actually a voice transmitting jade plate. That person listened to the voice within the jade plate. After which, he suddenly raised his head and looked towards the middle of the forest. There was a figure who was seated cross-legged like a demon king there. Waves after waves of shocking hot fire chi continued to be emitted from within his body. Chief, there is news about Lindong's group. That demon godlike figure finally opened his tightly shut eyes slowly upon hearing this loud laughter. His entire body was covered by a fire chi, vaguely forming a large beast with an ape-like body, white head and red legs. A fearsome beast from the ancient times, Zhu Yang. Has he finally appeared? Some murderous intent slowly surged into the pair of fiery red eyes under the flame. He immediately stood up. With a flash of his body, he had appeared in the distant large tree. Let's go. Only by killing him can I receive the true inheritance of the Shuyang sect. Upon hearing the misty voice that resounded across the forest, a killing desire also suddenly surged up the eyes of the many people below. The sound of rushing wind appeared as they whizzed out. Crack! A clear bone-cracking sound suddenly appeared. At the same time, an expert with yuan power ripples over his body that was not weaker to that of the peak of a 3 yuan nirvana stage expert, slowly collapsed. Fresh blood seeped out from his head that was cracked apart. Finally, he slumped onto the ground. There seemed to be a terror that could not be removed within that pair of eyes. Bang! A green-clothed human figure beside this corpse kicked it apart. After which, he extended his tongue and licked the fresh blood and brains on his hand. A sharp and strange voice was emitted from his mouth. Lindong, the current me will likely cause you to be wary, he. He slowly raised his head before his eyes turned towards a certain direction. That handsome face currently possessed a sinister and distortion like that of a stern ghost. He was actually Lin Langqian. This video will end here.